well, you bump into all sorts of luminaries at the Grand National Weights Lunch. One of those is John Motson. Hello, sir. And John, you're a man who almost won a Grand National yourself.
Well, not quite. I was offered some shares in Earth Summit, and of course I didn't take them. My good friend Ricky George, who's here today, took them instead, and I had a wonderful run with that horse. It won the Scottish and the Welsh, of course, as well as the great Grand National itself. I had probably the biggest bet of my life that day. So it's all happy memories, really, about Earth Summit. Yeah.
Happy memories from that, John, and hopefully happy memories from this year's race.
Yes.
You're a man who knows his form. You've looked to the weights this year. Which horses do you like?
Well, what you mean by that is I study my Racing Post diary every day, keep my life in it. War of Attrition's a horse I've backed before, obviously at Cheltenham. I think that's probably quite nicely weighted, so I think I'm going to have a bet there. And I'll probably back the McManus horse, Don't Push It, as well. They'll be my two anti-post bets.
Well, Richard Lee trains one of this season's breakthrough staying chasers in Le Beauvais. And Richard, the handicapper Phil Smith has given you 10 stone 13, a mark of 147. Pleased with that?
Yes, I am actually, because he was originally off 148, and he won again over hurdles the other day. He could have seen his way to put him up actually a bit. So I think he's been very fair. But to be fair to Phil Smith, he's turned this race, by bringing the top weight down a bit. He's made it a much more competitive race. I think it's all the better for it. Yeah, I mean, all credit to Phil.
And Richard, at this stage, obviously people want to know, do you plan to run, do you not plan to run? Do you plan to run?
We are very weather dependent with this horse. He must have soft ground, if not heavy. He's in the Blue Square Gold Cup on Saturday at Haydock. The ground, they've just rung me now to say overnight the ground has gone from soft to heavy. They've had 19 mil of rain. So I'm in a very good mood about that. And we've got to get that out of the way first. We've got to come through that unscathed. But yeah, I mean, when you enter a horse like this, you intend to run, but we would, if the ground came up good to firm, no, we wouldn't be there at all.
Well, Phil Smith, the man who annually sets the toughest racing puzzle of the year. I asked you this last year, I'll ask you again. How hard was it this time?
Very interesting rather than hard, because obviously we've got such a high quality field this year. I've never had 30 horses carrying 11 stone and above in the race, so there's a fantastic strength in depth. No superstars, there's no Denmans and Gutter stars obviously, but a lot of horses in the high 140s, 150 rated, and they're the cream of the staying chasers, and they're the very horses that we want in the race.
Grand National winning trainer, David Pipe. It sounds good, that. And David, the horse you won it with, Comply or Die, back again. Phil Smith, the handicapper, has asked me to ask you if you were surprised to be dropped a pound from last year.
Always surprised when you get dropped. I don't know, it's a fair enough mark, isn't it? He ran a tremendous race, but got well beaten by the winner last year, who was obviously took to it and appeared to be well in on the day. But Comply, it would be great if we could get him to line up third year on the trot after winning it and finishing second last year. He's in great form. It looks a very classy race this year, but we'll be, you'd have to be hopeful that we get round and hopefully be thereabouts.
David, it's far from a one-horse squad, 8 horses entered. I know he's got top weight, but I was very sweet on Madison de Burley on a flat track like Aintree with the cheek pieces on, off 158 as well. Would he, in your opinion, be an intended runner?
Once again, we had to speak to his owners, but I know Roger Stanley's keen on running him. He has run in the race once before and he fell, but was travelling and jumping well up until that stage. Handicap has given him a chance. He's dropped a lot in the handicap, and at this stage, I would imagine we'd be more likely to go than not.
And David, of the 8 that you've got in the race, so we mentioned 2 of them. Of those 8, I know one's already a winner, but which one do you see as your best chance of winning this year's Grand National?
I don't think you can. I don't think I could desert Comply or Die. I mean, he's got the form round there, but the package has got a nice weight on 10.7.
And with the package, has that been the plan for a while? I mean, his horse that's always looked like a big handicap chase was within his grasp.
Yeah, I mean, he did a good win at Cheltenham last time. Yeah. I'm not sure Obviously, David Johnson's got 4 or 5 in the race, so we're not sure what's going to run at this stage. Long time till entry, plenty can happen. Hopefully they all stay safe and sound and healthy. Things will work themselves out the closer we get to the actual day.
Well, JP McManus has come close to winning the Grand National in the past. You've got plenty of entries again, JP. Which of your horses do you see as national types this season?
You know, I don't know if I have anyone with a real chance, but, you know, we have a few in it, and hopefully one of them will run well.
I mean, Don't Push It, Can't Buy Time, Arbor Supreme, King John's Castle has almost won the race in the past. They're all horses that will go there with a chance, aren't they?
I suppose they have a chance, you know. Don't Push It has a bit of class, but I don't know if the hustle bustle of the National would suit him, 40 runners. I'm sure if AP's on him, he'll have to take his time on him. And who knows? If he goes there fit and well, which is in good form at the moment, I'm told, he'd have an outside chance.
Can't Buy Time, of course, ran in the race last season. Didn't have much luck last year, but came back to form last time and has a touch of class.
As a touch of class, you wonder about the trip, whether he gets that trip. But if he does, I'm sure he'll take his chance,
Maybe 2 more to mention. Arbor Supreme with a fantastic Grand National, winning trainer Willie Mullins, and King John's Castle almost won the race for you.
Yeah, he was finished second a couple of years ago. He hasn't shown a lot since, but I believe Arthur is satisfied with him. So we'll know more in another week or 2.
Well, John Quinn almost had one of the leading fancies for last season's National in character building. He could again be one of the leading fancies for this season's race. John, is the plan to go to Aintree?
Yes, it is. I mean, he'll run at Cheltenham first in the William Hill, and then he'll go to Liverpool. Yeah.
And last season, how agonising and heartbreaking for you was it to get that close to running and then have to withdraw?
It's very disappointing when you get near any race and you've got to withdraw. But when you get near a Grand National, it's a lot worse. But there we are. These things happen.
And John, going into last season's race, how big a chance did you think you had?
Well, I thought he had a very good chance. I mean, he won well at Cheltenham and looked right on song, but then he bruised the foot, and the rest is history, really.
John, an even more pertinent question: how big a chance have you got in this year's race?
Well, I think he's got a good, provided he jumps around, he's a good jumper. I would have thought it should suit him, and he's got a nice racing weight, so we're optimistic anyway.